Hi everyone, my name is Jess, though I also sometimes go by Styx and part-time pirate, and I'm finally starting a YouTube channel. I am going to be doing the Larp Tag because I am in fact a Larper. What is a Larper? If you don't already know, Larp is basically playing video games but in real life with costumes and camping and or staying in other really cool places that aren't camping. And you're being in character, it's basically improv the whole time. It's a lot of fun, I really recommend it. But yeah, basically now that you know what LARP is, I'm going to do the LARP tag. I have all my little notes right here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but if you can, oh well. Number 1, who is your first character? So my first character was for Dystopia Rising. Her name is Styx Holloway. She is a Saltwise, which is basically a post-apocalyptic waterworld fishy pirate person. She reproduces blueprints for a living, which is a very unadventurous sounding job description for a pirate, but she loves making money, and since it is the most lucrative, legal, option of making money in this world because a lot of people can't read. She's also a tarot card reader, which is a skill she picked up from her long-lost sister years ago. She's part of a religion that worships music itself and old musicians from years ago before the end of the world. It is a huge part of her character because the music creators she follows are sea shanties, because it is her way of connecting with the sea and her heritage, because she sees it as sort of the voice of the ocean personified. All of these sea shanties are one voice. I would like to think she's chaotic good, but if anything, she's probably lawful neutral. She's my first character, so I'm still playing her, but she's only got 2 lives left, so we'll see how long that'll last me. Number 2, favorite NPC to play. So I'm gonna split this into 2 categories because I am a Libra, and Libras are very bad at deciding on anything, especially favorites for anything, ever. So yeah, combat NPCs and more roleplay oriented NPCs. So now this isn't to say that combat NPCs don't roleplay, because that is the opposite of the case. It's just that some, at least in my local game, are more combat oriented and some are more roleplay plot hook oriented. So as far as NPCs go, one of my favorite to play is actually one of the simplest. It is raiders. They don't do a lot of damage, but they come in groups and they're one of the loudest NPCs we have, so it's really fun for me to do because not a lot of people really expect me to be a loud person. I can be loud when I need to be. I can be very loud when I need to be. Because even if I play a fairly extroverted character, I am still more of a quiet, non-threatening kind of person when people look at me, so they don't really expect a big, scary roar to come out of me, so it's really fun to do that. Does that make me a bad person? Possibly. Was, this, like, we're the worst pirates ever mod. It was like more supposed to be kind of a funny thing that was a plot hook into this other thing. So basically we were meant to go try to mug people awfully, do a really bad job of it, get caught, and then once we were caught, beg for our lives, telling them, please, if you let us free, we will tell you where our treasure is, it's on our ship. So the thing is, we kind of overestimated how many people would follow the plot lead, because sometimes it is the middle of summer in California, and people do not want to follow plot leads at noon, as fun as they may be. So the mod ended up going on a lot longer than we meant for it to, and by that point we had already kind of grown into our characters, shall we say. By this point the mod had turned into people trying to find the sheriff to find a suitable punishment for us for mugging people, and basically the whole time we were yelling to anyone who would listen about how dare you do this to the crew of Captain Bloodbeard, we will get you for this, don't you know who we are? But basically my favorite part of it was when we were getting led away in shackles and someone gave me the perfect line opportunity. They said, "You guys are the worst pirates we've ever heard of." You know what that means. But you have heard of us. So question number 3, what is your current character's favorite possession? I am playing 3 characters currently at the same time, in 2 different LARPs, so I will go over that. Styx's favorite possession is her gun, which is this Nerf Fire Strike that I painted and glued stuff onto. It looked a lot better before, but then LARP happened and things fell off of it, and her other favorite possession is this Pieces of 8 necklace, which has the names of her parents engraved on the back of it. My other character, Voltage, is this cyborg character, and her favorite thing is her shield, which is this big radiation sign shield that glows green on the outside of it. It is both a representation of her faith and a representation of her need to not get killed. Willow is this Fae character that I created just a week ago for this other game in my area, Twin Mask. They are great. So she's kind of too new to really have a favorite possession, but I guess if anything I'd say probably her cloak, because it means she gets to fly like the little crow she is, the little crow fae. And also it makes it a lot easier for me because it means I don't have to stand on tiptoe whenever I am having the cloak, because it already looks like I'm gliding across with a cloak. So question number 4, how many shoes have you ruined since you started LARPing? 2 pairs, one was flip-flops, one was boots. Question number 5, how long have you been LARPing? I've been LARPing for a little over a year now. I started Dystopia Rising back in February, and I started Twin Mask last week. So number 6, what was your first game experience? My first game experience was, it was a very interesting way to get introduced into LARPing. I essentially went through one of the most kinds of ways you can get into it, because when I started Dystopia Rising, it was actually the biggest storm of El Nino last year, like the biggest one of the whole time, and I had to try LARPing in that. Thankfully, I was a Saltwise, so me being wet was in character. But it was still a really fun time. I came with some friends from college and joined their sort of ragtag group of pirates. I'm not still really in that group of pirates, but it was still a really great introduction to game, already knowing people. It was one of the most immersive games I've ever really had, actually. Partly because when everything's new, everything is immersive, because you're experiencing everything for the first time. All those dark shadows that you're gonna get used to in a couple of months are all scary now, so if you're in a horror post-apocalyptic genre game, perfect. But yeah, I basically woke up to the smell of pine needles and hearing gunshots in the distance. Not anywhere near us. They were real gunshots, but they're on a gun range far, 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 far away from sight. However, we can still hear them, so like it provided this really cool soundtrack of being in the post-apocalypse, and I had never really felt like in a different reality like that before, and that was, I think, it was something so simple, but it was something that I really appreciated, and it like carried on further into LARP for me. Number 7, what Disney character is your character most like? 6 would be somewhere between Jim Hawkins and Melody. Voltage would be somewhere between Milo and Eeyore. And Willow is probably the Fawn. Her name's Fawn, I think, from Pixie Hollow. She's such a new character that I don't really want to say exactly who she is yet, because I have time to grow into her. Number 8, if you could play anything, even outside of your genre, what would you play? I need to play a cyberpunk LARP. I would especially love a cyberpunk LARP with virtual reality involved in it somehow. That would be, please give it to me, please. But if this question was about what kind of character I'd want to play instead of what kind of genre I'd like to play, then I would love to play like a scary, badass lady villain one day. I've only really played like chaotic good, chaotic neutral, wishy-washy, or good characters. I've never really played a villain. Not to mention, I would just love to be that kind of Charlize Theron murder voice, kind of just staring into your soul. I need it. I want to be a dark fae. Number 9, what fictional world would you like to LARP in, and why? So, Harry Potter, obviously, duh. But they already have Harry Potter LARPs, so that's on the list. But if we're gonna go for ones that don't already exist yet, that's a fictional one, I really want one based off of, this is very obscure, but stay with me. There's this book series by Gail Carriger. It is called The Parasol Protectorate. It is a steampunk, I wouldn't call it quite Penny Dreadful, but it has vampires and werewolves and other supernaturals in it. But the whole like supernatural thing, that's really cool and I'm into that. However, this I actually want to be LARPing in her spin-off series of that series, set in the same universe. It was basically about these Victorian girl spies who would go to this spy school that was also a finishing school for girls, while also in this like steampunk vampire werewolf universe. The vampires and werewolves don't necessarily have to be in there for me to enjoy it. I just really want Victorian steampunk spy school. And also, can you imagine like how many puzzle things you could do and like all the possibilities of things that the plot they could do for that? Question number 10, weapon of choice. For me, it honestly really depends on my character, but if we're going for what I really enjoy having a combo of things. I like to be able to have a gun and a sword, Nerf gun and a sword, because that gives you the opportunity to have range and to have something to defend yourself once it comes close to you. And this isn't technically an actual question in the tag, but what LARPs do I plan to be going to in the following year? I'm gonna keep going to my local LARP Dystopia Rising, the post-apocalyptic one. And I'm also going to keep trying Twin Mask. I just tried it the first time last week. Lots of fun. But I'm gonna keep going and hopefully make a video about it. I'm not sure how much I can put in it yet because I have to ask people, but we'll see. And the last one that I really want to go to, I have to save up for it, but it'll be in 8 months, is Conterra by Phelbus Productions. It's going to be in Colorado. It's going to be a really cool castle blockbuster LARP in the States that's not on the East Coast, and it's in an actual castle, and I'm so excited because I have always wanted to try a blockbuster LARP, but they are all, sadly, very far away. So this is the first time that I'm actually going to be able to try that, and I'm over the moon about it. But yeah, I cannot wait to go on more adventures and hopefully share them with you guys and just share more videos about LARP in general, because I want everyone to know about this fantastic, weird, wonderful, nerdy hobby that is LARP. So if you guys stayed till the end of this video, thank you. If you did, then maybe do a little subscribey thing, a little following of the things. There are many things, Twitters and Instagrams and art stuff. Yeah. Don't have an ending to this. Didn't think about outros. Killing Blow 1.